Welcome.
Hi, welcome to my living room. Awesome. So how do we work this? Are you just shouting out questions and then
We decided to sort of pitch the odd question here and there. So
okay.
I can kick us off. So how's your weekend been so far at MCM?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Huge crowds. I can't believe how busy it is today. And I've seen so many people. People I've seen at other shows have come back, and then I've met a lot of new people as well. It's been fantastic.
Awesome.
And how does it feel looking around and seeing so much love for Pokemon after all of these years?
Yeah, isn't it extraordinary that it's lasted this long? I think there's something about, especially with the show, there's something that that's real in the unrealness, that we can all relate to that journey, whether we are 10 or still 10 somehow inside. But I think that's a testament to I guess the real story behind all the merchandise and all of that, that's luckily, I think, what's seeped in. But isn't it, 20 years on, here we are still talking about it?
It's
really great.
Playing the games and buying
The games, I know, the card games, still watching the shows. It's really great.
What kind of led you in to become Ash? How did it come about? How did you actually get the position to be Ash's voice actor?
I was working on another anime called Slayers, and the people who had cast me in that were doing the casting for Pokemon, so I was simply asked to come audition. So it's like, as an actor, you're always auditioning for a million things, and it's not like you go, I'll take that, but I won't audition for this. Anything that comes, you go, yeah, I'm right for it, and you just jump in. So Pokemon was just one of those things that I was lucky to get the audition, and then even luckier to get the job.
Obviously, you're known for Ash Ketchum, but is there a character within the Pokemon universe that you would like to have voiced that you didn't get a chance to?
I wish I were still voicing Ash. We didn't have a choice to leave the show, so I certainly wish I were still on it. It was really joyful, and to be working with all the people involved was fantastic. I've never really thought about, do I wish I were Misty or Brock or someone else? I've not really thought about that, actually. I think as an actor you have to deal with what you have, not what you don't have. So I often don't dwell on the I wish I had type things.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk a bit about more where Ash's voice actually comes from?
Sure. When we first auditioned for Pokemon, we were basing the voices on the original Japanese actors and actresses. So what we got to go in and see a tiny clip from Pokemon, and from listening to it on the tiny TV, hearing the voice, and then you just jump in the booth and do your best kind of impression of that. So we didn't have a lot of time to prepare. It was just really listen and go, okay, I think I've got it, and then just do it. So it was based on that, and I think it was allowed to kind of transform into what it eventually became while I was working on it. Even within the first season, it transitioned a bit from a million people kind of directing to just 2 or 3 people directing by the end. So it was matching the originals.
And what is it like as a female playing a 10-year-old boy?
Extraordinary. But I've played a lot of sports my whole life. I was doing a stunt show before that, and so doing sports and combat and all of that stuff is kind of what I do anyway. I think there's something about Ash that is part of all of us. So yes, I was playing a boy, but I was playing a character who was exuberant and positive and just kind of naive, especially in the beginning, and just out on his own. So you can play that. I could have played that if he were a sheep, I think, or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can just, I think when you're creating a character, you have to figure out what their essence is, and you're playing that. And then you can add the age or the sex or the animal characteristics or whatever they are on top of it. But it was pretty natural.
What would you say was the most challenging thing about voice acting?
Ash's voice is kind of back in here, and so it's not the most vocally hygienic. So you can't, there's not a lot of air that comes through. So the most challenging is making sure that you are taking care of yourself, that you know how to properly place it, and if you start getting a cold, you know where to put it so that it can move, around. If your nose is blocked, how do you get it to come out of that, instead of, even though most of us resonate up here. So that's probably the most challenging, is staying healthy for any role that you play, but especially for that. Mm-hmm.
Was there a favorite Pokemon generation? Was it Kanto, Johto, Sinnoh?
I love the very beginning when they were in the Orange Islands. It was the most simple And we were all figuring out what this journey was going to be about. And I don't know, there was something for me like roaming along on a beach and just getting fruit off the tree. I was like, what a great world this is. And that's not what my life in New York City was like, unless I went to my community garden. So I don't know, I loved that. And then it got more complicated and everything as it went on, but the beginning was just simple. And I think it allows you as the viewer and as the actor to really, I don't know, connect with your imagination and be on the journey, because it wasn't all done for you. So I think that's why I like that the best.
Nice.
Yes, and then at you.
If you didn't become the voice actor for Ash,
Yeah.
what person did you think you might have been doing the voice acting for?
Well, I certainly, in the beginning, I think we only had the 3 main characters to audition for. So I suppose I would have wanted to be Misty, and Brock is a little bit older, so I don't know that I had much of a chance to be him. I didn't audition for Ash's mom until a little later, like a couple episodes in. So it really would have been just those 3, and then otherwise I would have been out. You know what I mean? Oh, probably Jesse and James were in the beginning too. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just going to ask, why do you reckon it's resonated for so long into popular culture until recently and continues to the Pokemon universe?
Yeah, I do.
That is, in your opinion.
Yeah, there's something about it that we all kind of glom onto. When kids are younger, there's all that to learn, and your parents have no idea what you're talking about. And I think there's something wonderful about that, and being able to teach your parents about it. And that so many parents just were like, I don't know anything about it, and then they were able to share that. I think as we get older, and then you learn how to use your own skill with playing the games, but then after a certain time, like this is 20 years on now, so a lot of kids are in their 30s who started watching it when they were 10, and to be able to kind of pop back to when you were 10, when you didn't have all that responsibility, when you were just kind of dreaming about what you wanted to be able to take a moment and revisit who you were at 10, I think Pokemon kind of allows you to do that in an odd way. It's not marketable, but I think it does. There's something about it that I think that's why we all still love it. So it's multi-layered, I think. Genius, right?
Have you ever actually sat down to play any of the Pokemon games yourself?
I've played a little bit of Pokemon Red because I have a DS, but we don't really have any video game any consoles or anything at home. And then I have Pokemon Go, of course, on my phone.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't play it that often because I'm not on my phone so much, but the fact that I have it and I could is pretty much all I need. I'm really the worst trainer on that. I think I'm level 8 and have been for like a year or so. I don't know. I'm terrible.
Speaking of trainers, have
Yeah.
you put thought into what your Pokemon team would be?
No, I never have actually. Yeah, I just kind of. I think I would Ash was determined to get something and he had to take what he got, so I think I would be the same. Just be lucky to get what I gotten. And but I've never thought about choosing a Pokemon. So no, I haven't put any thought other than that. I chose Valor for Pokemon Go, and that's pretty much the biggest choice I've ever made. So, yes.
What Pokemon do you think you're the most like?
Gosh, I wish I were more like a Lapras, because Lapras just floats along and is so calm. But I think ultimately I might be more like Pikachu, who can get along and then could also just like, when frustrated, can kind of, I hope my anger isn't like a lightning bolt. But I think Pikachu does let out emotion like that. And so I think I'm temperamental a bit. Let's go with that, and more explanations later.
Last question, and then wrap up.
Anyone? Yes?
Other than Pikachu, which is your favorite Pokemon?
Pikachu's definitely my favorite. My daughter and I always joke that if we had a Charizard, we could fly around New York City or Los Angeles, so it seems like it would be a better thing. We do go camping, and we're not very good at building the fire, so having a Charizard would be pretty handy. So I guess I'd have to, yeah, exactly. You have to be practical. I was a Girl Scout, so is that it? Do you guys, is there any last tiny before we go?
What should be your favourite part of Comic Con?
coming here and talking to people. I love hearing everyone's stories. To feel a part of your families is amazing. And my daughter and I travel so much together to Comic-Cons. And so for my family to be part of your family, it's such an honor. That never gets old, and it's the same all around the world. And to be part of that is great. And I think MCM is such a lovely, lovely show, and the people who are on the crew here are extraordinary. So I love coming here and being part of that. So.
Thank you, and thank you for being such a big part of our childhood.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you.
Yeah, you guys, I choose you. And that's your little time.
Thank you.
Oh, you guys, thank you so much. It's really my pleasure. Thanks.
Cheers. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Thank you.